You are now listening to Cryptid Cocktail Party. Creatures, let's meet for a drink. It's a treat. Join us. Join us in the fight. Cryptid Cocktail Party. Cryptid Cocktail Party.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host, Dave. Sarge is still in Norway, so we have another special guest co-host. Today we were joined by Chris Cullari of Scared All the Time. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Happy to be of service. Shout out to Sarge over there in the Great White. Well, I guess Norway is not really the Great White North. What the fuck is he doing over there? Is he working?
It's Great White North as far as we're talking about like ethnicity. Yes, it is.
Sure.
It is a very white North. No, his family's from there. So like I think his grandmother or something like that was born there. And so him and his dad are going and like visiting and checking out a bunch of different places.
That's cool. I could definitely see him doing like some Viking role play. I feel like he would. He's got the build and the beard for it. They could be up there with some battle axes, and it would be a good time. I'd go to Norway with Sarge.
I feel like he says there's a lot of hot dogs there. He sent me a voicemail the other day saying that he tried whale meat, which is fucked up first of all, but he said it's not great. And
is it the fermented? Isn't it fermented, or is that the shark meat that's fermented?
I think isn't that seal? I genuinely don't know.
I don't know. I assume it's all fermented. It's all just like jarred and stored in a witch's basement. So,
that's the only thing I know about. But no, he seems to be having a good time. He's been hanging out with trolls. He met a goat.
Sick.
I really don't know what he's doing there, to answer your question. It seems like he's doing whatever.
I'm sure you guys will have a great episode when he returns, diving into the new lore, the new Sarge lore of what he got up to in Norway.
Yeah, because he sent me like 5 voicemails, and honestly, none of them, it's just him, Sarge being Sarge, so I have no idea what he's actually doing.
Right. Well, okay, so wait, I did have, so 2 questions. One is, before you said the thing about whale meat, did you say there's a lot of hot dogs up there?
Yeah, he said that. He said there's like a hot dog. It's like New York. There's like a hot dog stand on every corner, apparently. That's what he says.
Okay.
I can neither confirm nor deny. But he says that he's eating a lot of hot dogs and that he tried whale meat. Those are the 2 things that I know for sure that he's doing.
And do we know what kind of whale?
Unclear. Not specified.
Okay. All right.
I feel like for me, whales are like my favorite animal. And I feel like morally I could not eat just because like the history of like whaling and stuff like that. I feel like morally I couldn't do it. So Sarge is, in my opinion, morally bankrupt.
The whales have been through enough, and a lot of them live so long. I feel like, there's the whales that are out there now are probably, they're just like the grandchildren of the whales that really were like fighting sailors and stuff during the height of the whaling boom. But it's like eating a dolphin. Sarge, this is just hitting me. Sarge, right? No, that's tough, man.
It's kind of fucked
tough.
Up. Yeah.
Well, I've always said I don't eat red meat because I got sick on a hamburger in college, and so I kind of like stopped for a while just because I was like grossed out by it. And then I drove past a factory farm on the 5 in California right after I'd moved out there, and it smelled so fucking bad for like 3 miles. It was just like cows lined up behind pens. And that really, I was like, I don't know, man. Just like, not even morally, but it just, again, it kind of grossed me out. And so then I was like, all right, I eat chicken and fish. I'm good. That's like plenty of protein for me. Like I can, and even once in a while I feel bad about, chicken and turkey and stuff. But all that to say, I'm a generally no red meat guy, but I do have a caveat carved out for, should I ever be in a position where someone's like, hey, do you want to try black bear or something?
Yeah.
I'll probably say yes, just because I'm a you only live once person. And, so if someone handed me whale, I'd be torn. But if, it's dead already, other people are eating it. It's like,
yeah,
I'm curious. I'm always going to wonder what it would have tasted like, but I don't think I would seek it out.
yes.
So
Sarge didn't spear this whale himself. It was already like, he didn't
in front of its family.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I guess if someone put it in front of me, I would try it, but I'd feel bad about it.
Yeah, I would too. You know what else I would eat would be Bigfoot if someone put it in front of me.
I feel like it'd be gamey, not going to lie.
Probably.
I feel like it wouldn't be good.
No.
But thank you for that wonderful segue, Chris. So we're going to do something a little different on this episode, something that we haven't done before. Me and Sarge, we've reacted to like fucking AI slop, paranormal videos and stuff like that, but we have a little treat. So, Chris, are you familiar with the podcast Sasquatch Chronicles?
I am now. I mean, I don't know how much behind the scenes you want to show here. You asked me on Instagram if I'd listened to this show, and I was like, yeah, I think so. Like I've sampled, so to speak, to bring it back to the tasting menu. I've sampled different Bigfoot podcasts before.
Yeah.
I don't have one that's my go-to main meal. Just because I feel like so much of the content between them is usually pretty similar. There's some people doing some interesting work in the space. I don't know enough about this particular podcast to know if these are the folks who are doing particularly good work in the space, but I'm familiar with them. So, yeah.
Okay. So for anyone listening who's unfamiliar, and maybe Chris, this might be news to you. So the Sasquatch Chronicles is a show. It's hosted by a guy named Wes. I don't remember his last name because I genuinely don't care. Basically what it is he'll have people like email him like their story, and then he'll eventually get them on the phone and they'll tell the story on the show. Wes famously, no pushback. He's like, someone could say the most unhinged thing and he just glazes right, like just doesn't even push back on it. It's pretty crazy.
Does he ask? So, I mean, because I feel like if done well, that's kind of the Art Bell style, right? Like Art Bell never like pushed. He was never like, "Are you sure you saw a werewolf?" He would just be like, "Wow, what did it smell like?"
Yeah.
Is it kind of that thing, or is it more just like he's encouraging them to make shit up?
So I genuinely don't know.
Okay.
Like Wes famously does not give any pushback or any like anything like that, and he barely asks like follow-up questions, I feel like, and I've only listened to like a handful of episodes.
Okay,
but yeah, he says that he doesn't give any pushback or really challenge anyone on the show, because for him apparently it's more for listeners who have seen something that may be traumatized, or maybe they just have a crazy search on. He wants them to be able to tell the story without feeling like they're being shit on, which makes sense. I get it. But at some point, right, there are some times...
that's what we're here for.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes when you're listening to a story, especially like the one we're about to hear, you gotta something. You gotta give something back.
Right. Well, it's the difference between... there's a difference between pushback and curiosity. And I feel like if you're good about it, you can, like if I'm hearing a crazy tale from somebody, I'm not necessarily going to discount what they're saying or push back in a way where they feel attacked, but I'm going to be curious, and I'm going to want to ask those questions that if it's made up, they might have trouble answering or whatever, but I'm not doing it to try to catch them in a lie. I'm just like, I want to get as much information as possible. And it seems like this guy maybe is just more of a not a shoulder to cry on, an ear to lie into. I'm sorry, tell a story into.
So it's funny you say that, because there are some points in this episode, I didn't clip all of them, but I did clip at least one where he does kind of ask leading questions also. You know what I mean? But we'll get into it. So yeah, so today we're going to be listening to, we're not going to listen to the whole thing, but we're going to be discussing an episode of the Sasquatch Chronicles, episode 419. This episode is actually sent to me by multiple different people to listen to, because it starts off innocently enough, but then it just goes so far off the rails that I feel like everyone needs to listen to some of the things said without having to listen to the entire episode, because it's over. It's like what, like an hour 40 minutes. It's a long episode.
Holy shit! This guy's story is an hour and 40 minutes long, uncut.
It's crazy. It's so long. Luckily, we're not going to listen to all that because
that's like as long as Avengers Doomsday or whatever is going to be. It better be a hell of a story. Okay, I'm ready.
So the episode starts out with obviously just Wes introducing Anthony, and Anthony kind of just like being like, "Thanks for being here," and also Anthony. We'll get into it, but yeah. So it starts out with him telling a story. Initially, apparently, the first Sasquatch quote-unquote experience he had was when he was driving down the road with his, I think, pregnant wife at the time, and like a lug nut blows off of his car. And so he's creeping down slowly down the road, and he hears what he describes as like a bulldozer coming through the woods. And that's it. That's the first. But
and you wouldn't believe there was a Sasquatch driving the bulldozer.
But he tells that story, and it leads to nothing. And Wes is just like, okay. And then so then he gets into like this is the real story that he gets into. So apparently he likes to ride his motorcycle out to this like abandoned quarry, and he goes out there to, I guess, just smoke cigarettes and clear his head. I get it. That sounds pretty rad. I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
But so he's out there one day in July, and he starts to hear some like a crying sound. So he walks a few feet over to like where he's hearing the sound, and this is where we get the first glimpse of a squatch.
All right, Anthony.
The creature, the animal, I call them animals, was upside down and had his leg caught like in the Y part of the tree, and it's squalling and going crazy, and it looks at me, and I mean the look on his face, it really wasn't a look of fear, it was a look of pain. I could tell it was in pain.
He's an empath.
And I'm sitting there thinking, should I try to help this out? I didn't know what it was. Will it hurt me? And so I'm sitting there debating on this. And all of a sudden, the baby, we'll call it the baby stops crying and just stares off. And this whole demeanor on his face changed.
So that's where his story begins. He's smoking a cigarette by his motorcycle. He hears a crying, and then he sees a baby Sasquatch hanging from its ankle because it's stuck in the Y of the tree.
I would think. Now listen.
Okay.
I'm approaching this. I'm going to approach this as Anthony is telling a true story. I'm not going to question the truth, the reality of this. But I would say the first surprising thing here for me is that I am having trouble understanding how a famously ape-like creature is having trouble with a tree, which seems like a thing that they would, if you said, "Oh, I heard this screaming and I ran over and it was splashing and drowning," I'd go, "Okay, that's sort of, maybe it can't swim." That kind of makes sense. I mean, I guess to be fair, if they are sort of hominid, more human-like ape descendants or whatever, maybe they aren't as aerial tree-born as other apes. But stuck in a tree is not where I would expect a Bigfoot story to start. So maybe that's a point in the favor of being real, because it seems so bizarre.
So maybe, I don't know, but so I have nothing to come back from that. You're right. This could be, maybe he is telling the truth. But he goes,
truth is stranger than fiction, right? He's like, you wouldn't believe it. This Bigfoot was hairless, stuck in a tree. Oh, and then you realize it's a person.
It's just a baby. It's just a child stuck in the tree.
It's just a baby.
So he sees this Sasquatch baby, whatever, hanging from the tree. And like you said, it's crying, its demeanor, but then its demeanor changes and it starts like looking off into the distance. So this is where that clip continues from.
Well, I looked to see where he's looking at, and there's another one. Only she's a lot taller.
Ooh. I'm
6'2", and she probably had 4 or 5 inches on me. So I put her at about 6.5 foot. I'm sitting there staring at that one, I'm frozen. I don't know what to do.
Run.
All of a sudden, another one comes from behind the tree, and they're both females. And the reason I know they were females is because, you know, they had breasts. They were hairy, but you could tell what they were.
So, so the reason why I kept that in there is because that's going to be a running theme throughout this episode, is that he likes to comment on the physique of these Sasquatches, and it'll get worse from here.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, I mean, I can't say I've ever seen a hairy pair of pendulous breasts that weren't on the famous Patterson Gimlin footage. That's the only place I've ever seen them. But I will say that it is a running. I forget who it was. I don't want to slander the wrong person, but one of the men involved in the Patterson Gimlin, whether you believe it was real, but involved in that footage, had previously drawn pictures of a female Bigfoot with hairy breasts. And so I do think there's somewhere in some circles of Sasquatch fandom, there is perhaps some element of a fetishistic hairy boobies giantess fetish that some of these men seem to be working out through their Bigfoot stories. But I'm glad we're going to get this guy being a misogynist towards an entirely different species. So
just wait. So Bigfoot babies, kind of tree, couple of big breasted Sasquatches come out, and then after that, a third one appears, and he thinks that it's the mother, because this one's about 8 feet tall, a little louder, and as soon as she sees him near this thing, it just starts screaming at him. So that sends him, he's like, fuck this, I'm out of here. And so he goes home, and this is what he says happened to him that night. And this is where Wes kind of does that leading question thing.
Well, that same night, you know, I'm at home, and you know, I'm feeling weirded out about this, and you know, it was kind of hard to collect my thoughts on what I
bet
had
it was
seen.
kind of hard, Anthony.
The next day, you know, I'm supposed to get up and go to work, and for some reason, I ended up getting sick, and I was sick for like 3 or 4 days straight, and it was not like a flu sickness. It was more of I felt like I had a hangover and like I'd been punched in my head a few times.
Yeah, kind of like you've been poisoned.
Thanks, Wes.
Such a leading question. Such a leading question.
Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, because then Anthony's like, yeah, exactly. Like I was poisoned. First of all, I need to push back. Is that a part of Bigfoot lore? I don't believe in Bigfoot. I don't research Bigfoot. So all of this to me is nonsense. But is seeing Bigfoot the same thing as like seeing Mothman and you get conjunctivitis? Like, do you get a poison feeling from seeing Bigfoot?
There's one story of a guy who was, and I want to say this was maybe in the 40s. Hold on a second. Let me do some live producing here. But there was a guy who has a story who was kidnapped by a Bigfoot family. Albert Ostman.
Okay.
This happened in 1924, and I believe that he did. That there was some element of him feeling sick or poisoned by them or around them. I'm not going to have a whole bunch of dead air looking up at the whole story. But yeah, Albert Ostman, I want to say that there's some element of him being poisoned, or maybe I have it backwards, because I think that story ends with him, they eat his tobacco snuff, and I think they get sick, and that's how he got away.
That's such an old-timey sentence.
It is, yeah. So maybe I'm confusing things, and maybe they got poisoned. So, but no, that's the only one that I can think of that would involve any kind of poisoning. Although, yeah, this does feel like a bit of a more modern. I could see it being a modern thing in Bigfoot lore, kind of spinning off of some of those stories of like the Mothman or the Mad Gasser of Mattoon, or other stories of things that made people feel sick or ill, and perhaps that's worked its way into Bigfoot stuff. But yeah, I don't think it's a common, that is leading the witness for sure, especially because I felt sick and my head was pounding. I mean, I guess poisoning would be one of those things, but also
It could have been like an adrenaline dump. Like he just encountered 4 massive Bigfoots, and then I'm sure like you get home and then all that adrenaline wears off. You probably feel like shit. I mean, that's what I've heard.
Not to mention he's out there blasting cigs. Like, maybe he's, like doesn't sound like he was out there doing yoga. Like he was getting up. He was having his little his man moment out in the woods. Maybe he was dehydrated. Was he drinking beers? Like,
Yeah.
Okay. So he was feeling sick and possibly poisoned by 3 Bigfoot women.
3 beautiful big-breasted Bigfoots.
Yes.
So goes home. He feels poisoned, according to Wes now, and then now according to him, he feels poisoned. So apparently he goes home and he tells his grandfather about what happened, because apparently his grandfather's like the one person that he like trusts the most, I guess. Mind you, he's married, so like it's crazy he didn't tell his wife this, but it also kind of makes sense. She's gonna start having a lot of questions about what he's doing out in the woods if he comes back with stories of seeing the Bigfoot women again. Maybe it runs in the family though. Is that where this is going? Does his grandfather start like he starts howling, like doing the like ow and like big heart eyes? I fucking wish it was. It goes way weirder than that. So he tells his grandfather, and then he tells his grandfather he's scared. His grandfather apparently is just like, face your fears, get back out there, don't be a little bitch. So he does go back. He does go back out there a few weeks later, and he starts telling Wes about his return trip out there. But Wes is like, whoa, hold on. I want a full physical description first. So he gives the description of like 2 of the females. He says one's like golden blonde colored, almost reminded of a Native American, and then. This is just you can just
what?
And then just listen to this. So
all 3 of them had kind of had a human-like appearance from where.
Looked very human, but the big one that stepped out, you could tell she had a little bit of an animal in her.
A little bit of an animal.
And when you say that, what do you mean?
Maybe I'm saying that because of the way she growled at me and screamed, but she looked more. She had more of the chimp look to her, but the first one that stepped out. I mean, she was beautiful. I mean, beautiful. Not saying her face wise, it's just her standing there. It's something I had never seen before.
Okay. So if I'm now I definitely see why he didn't tell his wife about this.
Yeah.
But I would say, I guess, while it is bizarre, to go to beautiful, it sounds maybe on paper it sounds a little bit worse. I guess hearing him say it that way, you do hear a little bit of an awestruckness of the way that you would describe a unicorn as beautiful or something, and not necessarily like a beautiful woman that he's like attracted to, but. This is the one that's 8 feet tall and screaming like an animal?
No, this is the he's talking about the first one that came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But what you just said about how it does sound like when you see like a fucking lion or something at the zoo, you're like, wow, that's a beautiful animal. But I want you to keep that thought in your head for later on.
Okay.
All right. So
face wise, it's just her standing there. It's something I had never seen before.
She's got a face.
This story is, I know this is hard to believe, and I know everybody out there is going to think I'm crazy, but it's the God's honest truth.
Yeah, no, I'm fascinated by it.
Thanks,
and
Wes.
so all 3 of them looked more human-like, except for the oldest one looked more, kind of had an animal look. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, had an animal look. And the golden one, the first one that stepped out, I mean, she was slender. But she had muscles. She had the smaller waist, and she had hips on her. You could tell she was younger. And you could tell she was in her youth, maybe going through, I guess, what we would have as puberty.
Bro,
stop. Stop right there. Anthony, you're being pulled over by the horny police. This is
the line you could tell she was in her youth is wild to me.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I mean, it's funny that he's identified one of them as being chimp-like and another one as being more animal-like, which is already a little bit odd because chimps are animals.
Yeah.
I assume he's just speaking a little bit more like wild versus maybe, more human seeming or something. But yeah, I don't know that you see animals like this and your thought is going to their hip to waist ratio. if you're seeing them out in the woods.
I told you this is going to be a running theme throughout this episode. It's bananas.
Okay, now I'm a little bit back more in the camp of there's something he's working something out here. No, but they're
beautiful, just like you'd see a lion at the zoo.
They are beautiful, like a lion at the zoo. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Okay, Anthony. Let's hear what else you got, buddy.
So after Wes makes him describe these things in full detail, he starts actually talking about like his first return trip back there. So he goes back out there, ripping butts, sitting on his bike. And apparently this time he's out there because he's convinced he's having a mental breakdown because he's a bunch of other stuff going on in his life. Like, I guess, like, I don't remember exactly if his wife left him or he has a new wife, but he has a kid from another marriage. It's a lot. He's got a lot going on. But when he gets up to leave, he walks back to his bike and he finds not only a gift, but I think he encounters Mother Nature herself.
As I'm going to leave, I think this was, I went up there a couple more times after that. And it was probably on my second or third time going back out there. I'm going to leave, and there's this old lady that is standing out there by my motorcycle. No, I left something out, Wes.
Oh, hold on.
The first time I went out there, when I walked back to my motorcycle, there were 3 rocks, shiny rocks, sitting on my gas tank. And I still have those to this day. I've made necklaces out of them.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
So he goes back. So first time he goes back out there, he finds 3 shiny rocks that he turns into a necklace, which I think is very sweet. Mm-hmm. He's a very, he's but he's
a sentimental guy.
Yeah. So then he goes on to talk about the time after this, I think. I don't know. His timeline's weird.
But wait, yeah. What about the old woman?
Oh, this is just wait.
Okay.
They were gifts from the Sasquatch.
Obviously,
I always refer to them as animals, but
no, you don't.
It was on my second or third time going back out there. I'm going to leave, and there's this old lady standing by my motorcycle, and I'm like, oh man, what? She's probably going to jump on me for being, on this land, which I didn't know who it was, an abandoned rock quarry, but I go out there a lot, and I was like, oh man, here we go. So here's another thing. As I'm walking back to my motorcycle, she was like, excuse me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to get it from this old lady.
He does have a kind of charm to him that
he does.
Can't be mad at.
He does.
And I walk up to her and I'm like, hey, hey, how are you doing? And everything, we said our greetings to each other. And she's like, I want to thank you for helping the baby Hank out. Did you understand that, Hank?
Yeah.
That's what she referred to him as.
That's what she
Hank.
called him. Yeah, Hank.
Called him Hank.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? She was like, you helped the baby Hank out. And I'm sitting, I didn't know what she was talking about. And when she was saying it to me, I wasn't thinking about my encounter or nothing. I just thought maybe she was a delusional old lady.
So.
I mean, honestly, that makes all of this a little bit more compelling because I don't, when you think of the word haint, you definitely, I associate it with more of like
it's like a spirit.
A haunted house spirit almost.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is either having a mental breakdown or, tied a couple of bizarre things like bizarre things together that he felt had more meaning than they did, or he's just, I guess, could be making this all up. But the old woman thanking him for helping the baby haint, that adds an interesting wrinkle to all of this, because it moves it away from it's still sort of like a woodland fantasy, but it moves it away from the more animalistic, like almost weirdly sexual thoughts he was having about these Sasquatch women, and into like a more mystical kind of space. This guy's an interesting character. Like I'm piecing together a character him in my mind. You know, he's a motorcycle riding, cigarette blasting, sounds kind of like a good old boy.
Yeah. Maybe divorced, maybe not be divorced.
Yeah, maybe divorced.
Definitely as a kid from a previous marriage. He does say that.
Okay. So maybe even been divorced a few times. I mean, maybe he's spending too much time out in the woods. But there's an interesting character here, and this old woman's adding a new wrinkle. So I'm leaning in again. I'm leaning in.
All right. So the old lady, actually, it plays a major part in this whole story, because she has a house that's not too far from the road. It's like I think he says like a half mile off into the woods, where she basically runs a Sasquatch daycare. And so
what?
Yeah, she essentially helps raise the young Sasquatches. So she invites him up to the house to come check it out. And so about a week later, he takes her up on that. So he rides out, he gets invited inside the house. The house itself is rough. Like, he said it's over 100 years old. There's like holes in some of the walls. I think part of the wall in one room is missing that just leads right to the outside. And he says it smells like a mix of wet dog and dairy cattle. And then he goes on to say this.
Also, another thing I didn't tell you about when we talked the other day, when I looked in her backyard, she has had a, when you go in the house, there's an extension cord that's running out the back door with cable wire tied all the way around it. And she has a TV sitting out there for them. Oh, yes. Also, this too. I mean, this sounds crazy. I know. I'm sorry, but this is the truth. When I was in there, I noticed a lot of toys. And a lot of the toys were SpongeBob. Well, she has this TV that she kept outside with cable on it. And she says that they all love SpongeBob. And I was out there.
Okay, hold on.
The Squatch loves SpongeBob. We
have heard from so many Bigfoot researchers over the years.
Not once has this come up.
Not once has this come up. I would say SpongeBob has been around in his current form for probably almost 20 years now. But we hear a lot about how they don't want to be associated with humans. They're afraid of us. This woman is breaking every law of nature and addicting these Sasquatch babies to SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah. This is going to lead to a war between Sasquatch and humans, because they're going to start piling into daycares and homes across the country when they're older and they need access to their entertainment. And they're looking for more SpongeBob.
So I agree, but this is also why I think she's Mother Nature herself, because I feel like most Sasquatches wouldn't even allow anyone to come close, let alone, she says that she watches the juvenile Sasquatches. I think it's like 3 to 4 times, something like that, while the mature, like, adults go out and like hunt and stuff like that.
So this is a part-time, say, Sasquatch daycare.
Yeah,
this is 3 to 4 times a week. This isn't even a full time. I mean, I guess if you're a Sasquatch, I was just looking for daycares for my kid, and it's hard enough to find one for an adult, for a human baby. I guess if you're looking for Sasquatch daycare. Okay, so now I'm fully on. This guy is completely making this up, which makes a couple things really fascinating, which is A, he's a good liar. He sounds like he's telling a true story. Like he and even the stuff where he's like, oh, I forgot this part, still sounds somewhat realistic. He does have a bit of a tell of this is the truth. Yeah. Which is something that people who are lying tend to say.
He does say a lot. It's going to sound like I'm making this up, or it's going to sound like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
He does say that
yeah.
a lot before and after he says something that is objectively crazy.
But I am also fascinated by, I mean, if this is a story that like there's a Harry and the Hendersons element almost to this, like the Bigfoot family kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there is something really like weirdly Appalachian Gothic about an old woman in a shack in the woods, like raising baby Sasquatches with like old tube TVs hooked up to SpongeBob VHS tapes and shit. It's weird. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What's next?
So that clip continues.
Okay.
Probably on my third time I went out there, and she had the TV on, and she was like, "Watch this," and she plugs it
Watch
in,
this.
and she was like, "Give it just a minute." And I looked out there, and there was you could see their eyeballs everywhere, little sets of eyes everywhere out there. And I thought that was probably one of the neatest things. It was probably one of the most fascinating things I'd seen.
So let me ask you. So you end up leaving. How many times do you go back to this property?
Great follow-up, Wes. So
Here's a follow-up. Did you ever bring a camera?
he specifically says he never did.
Okay.
At some
Big
point.
mistake. Big mistake.
Yeah. So basically, he meets this old crazy lady on the side of the road. She invites him to her house, which is a dilapidated Sasquatch sanctuary, and Sasquatch apparently loves SpongeBob, and yeah. So that's where we are right now.
Again, incredible image. The idea, I assume it must have been somewhat dark to see the light of the television reflecting off of baby Sasquatch eyeballs in the woods.
Yeah, can we talk about how haunting that is? That would freak me the fuck out.
Great visual, going out there in the middle of the night, turning on a TV, and in the glow of the TV in the woods, you see a bunch of small Sasquatch eyeballs watching it from the shadows is creepy and weird and funny. But what the fuck? Like this is the most bizarre Bigfoot story I've ever heard. I mean, partially because it's just so fantastic and so unbelievable that he would not have a shred of evidence of any of this except for the 3 rocks that were left on his gas tank that he wears as a necklace now or whatever.
Which is now looking back, that's kind of like, I thought it was cute at first. Now it's like that's kind of serial killery for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm getting that vibe.
Did he did he only ever see their eyeballs in the woods, or did he actually interact with the baby Sasquatches? Are we getting to that?
So the first time he went to the house, I didn't put this in there because it wasn't that interesting, but so he gets to the house and she made a tin of muffins. And
nice.
Apparently like he could hear like movement upstairs. This is before like he knew fully what was going on. And apparently he could hear like footsteps coming down the stairs, and they like peek behind like a wall, and it's 2 Sasquatch kids. One is the one that he rescued from the tree, and then the other one was just another one. And apparently they came downstairs for breakfast for the muffins, and then they just go darting out the house, and he said they were as fast as lightning.
So she didn't even tell him what he was walking into. She just invited him to her house.
Yeah,
and
I think
was
it's
like,
just swap store. I don't know.
Also, he didn't. Maybe this wasn't part of the clip that you played, but he didn't rescue the baby. He just stared at it, and then the other ones came out. Right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
It was
okay.
No, yeah, because he
just
said
clarifying.
Yeah, he said he saw it, and then the 3 women came out, yelled, and then he drove off. Because I played all those first 3 clips were in like order of them being told on the story.
Right. But yeah, so he didn't. But this one had enough defining features, I guess, as a baby Squatch that he could tell from it was different from the others. It was the one that he saw.
I guess so.
Okay.
There's a lot of detail in the story, but there's some details that just aren't in it.
Right. Yeah. Interesting how that happens.
So now this next bit, we're going to jump forward a bit. Not like too far ahead, but this next bit happens on like one of his later visits. He ends up going back to the property, I think like in total like 5 or 6 times over the next following weeks. And everything after this, it doesn't all shake out like in order. It's just like him like remembering bits and pieces of like being back there. But on one of those visits, they're sitting out on the porch, and the same golden colored big boob baddie from his first tree encounter shows up and starts communicating with the old woman. And he says they're doing it like a series of like clicks and like popping sounds, like kind of like that. I don't know. And he said he could tell that they were speaking some sort of language, because he said something about along the lines of like, when a Spanish person speaking, you can tell they're saying different words, or like a Japanese person, you could tell he could
Yes, Anthony. You can tell that humans, besides yourself, can
have
communicate
language
with each other in these fascinating sounds that have patterns, and that they seem to provoke emotions and reactions from one another.
So,
Lord Almighty. Okay.
Yeah. So this is what he describes of the encounter, or basically from like his point of view.
Well, tell us about the next time you went out and what she said, or if you saw any other creatures.
Okay, the next time I went out there, we're in the house, and we ended up going out on the front porch, and the first female that I'd seen was there. It came up, and she was outside and communicating with it. And I mean, this is going to sound horrible, I know, but and the thing about it is, I don't want to say the lady's name, but she ends up telling me that this particular animal, Bigfoot, was 8 years old.
Now, keep that age in mind.
Okay.
But she was, 6'6", 6'7", and like I was telling you,
so
she
mature
was
for her age.
very, very mature.
Oh,
And-
no, Anthony, I'm not putting.
I'm looking, I'm staring just like crazy. And, I probably might have stared at her breast way too much. And I know everybody's going to think, ooh, that's sick, but
Just wait.
it is what it is. And she
It ain't what it ain't,
she gave me
Anthony,
a
back
very,
away.
mean look and a dirty growl.
Typical woman.
What? That's
Ooh, Wes.
God damn. Yeah. So
Woo.
that's where we are now, Anthony.
Wow. Wow. I'll tell you what, my feelings towards Anthony and Wes are whiplashing like crazy. This is twists and turns that I can't say I didn't see coming, but
Yeah.
but to hear it is something else. Jesus Christ, I don't even know. So, okay. I love that he's like, I'm not going to dox this woman. I wouldn't. Brother, it doesn't sound like she has the internet.
Yeah.
I don't think she's out there and going to be like, Anthony, I heard you on the podcast.
Yeah.
How could you? Good Lord. Okay. So,
you okay?
what, Dave, I have to ask you, Dave,
Yeah.
where this is, am I going to regret being on this episode? Where does this go? Is this come to a legal end, or
No, there's no, don't worry. It's not going to get
okay?
Just
okay.
But that clip continues.
Oh God. Okay.
So as you heard Wes, he ended it with back up. Anthony is staring at this 8-year-old Sasquatch's breasts for too long, and it growls at him. And Wes,
1 second is too long, sir.
And Wes follows that up with typical woman. Crazy.
Yep. Yeah. Let's just be clear, in case anybody was a little confused about who said typical woman, because there was a pause there. That was Wes. That was neither of us said that. If you're not watching the video, that was not us.
That's the host of the show that we're listening to, which is crazy. So that continues with Anthony picking right up after that with
Typical woman. And, they say that they can read minds. And, I wasn't thinking
they
nothing
can read minds
like that. I hope I wasn't.
Yeah.
If I did, God forgive me. But, I mean, she was very attractive.
She was very attractive.
We get it. We get it. You've made this very clear, Anthony. She's very attractive, and I have heard this thing about Bigfoot being able to read minds before.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
he's not making that up wholesale. That's true.
So, but again, it continues with this.
Well, it sounds odd to the audience, and obviously for me, it sounds odd because. But having said that, I wasn't there, and Albert Otzman.
So you brought up Albert Otzman. He comes up here.
Okay.
I meant to tell you that beforehand, but we kind of got off on a tangent. So he comes up, and it's not great. So just keep that in mind.
Albert Otzman, the Canadian.
Yes, I heard his story. Uh-huh.
And you and I were talking about this the other night. There's a portion of his story where I think there was more that went on there than what he says. Because he was very attached to the young female, and he even thought about taking the young female away from there. And it makes you stop and go, well, why?
Well, why?
Why was he so infatuated with this young female?
Pocahontas.
I'm breaking your balls, but
I
I guess I get it to some extent. I understand where you're coming from.
Wes gets it.
I mean, it's just.
Wes gets it.
I'm not gonna lie. She was attractive. That's the only way to put it. And she said you can't see her lower area because it's very hairy. But she was very tall and muscular, but she had a shape, and she had a hairy little butt. I guess I could say.
Oh my god!
And she was. I mean, it was fascinating. It was a beautiful specimen. Is the way I put it.
No, I get it,
Anthony.
No, I get it. Wes gets it. Don't worry,
I get it.
guys. It's
I get it. First of all, Anthony keeps saying, I'm not going to lie. Brother, lie. Start lying. I mean, you are lying, but you're telling the wrong lie. Yeah. Start covering up your feelings about all of this. Talk to a psychologist.
If this is a true story, you could omit those parts. Like, this isn't like...
You could omit those parts. Yeah.
This is going out to the world to listen to, my man. This isn't like a therapy. Like, there's no HIPAA here. Like...
Yeah. Holy shit. Okay, so...
Yeah. Now, mind you, this all started because he went over to talk to this lady to have like breakfast or some shit. And then he just goes on like, this is like a good 4 or 5 minutes of the episode where he's just talking about how beautiful this 8-year-old Sasquatch is, how nice her breasts are, and how you can't see it because it's covered in hair, but she's got a little hairy butt.
I guess I could say she got a hairy butt.
She's a beautiful specimen. Crazy. But also your foreshadowing of whatever that guy's name was coming up is Albert, insane. Apparently he had a thing for a female a little.
Well, I think it was like, he claims that he had been, if I'm remembering the story right, he was out camping or hunting, and he was, I believe, kidnapped while in his sleeping bag. They essentially grabbed it with him in it.
I do know the story now. I don't know all the details.
Dragged him to a cave or something. And I'm pretty sure he said he spent like a week with them or something. I think what Wes was saying was that his theory is that there may have been comments made about one of the female Sasquatches that Albert was perhaps interested in a way that Anthony would understand on a primal level. But I don't remember that being part of the story, but I've never looked that too deeply into it. It's funny. So the reason I know that story though is because when I was in second grade, I wrote a book called True But Strange Unsolved Mysteries. And it was a book about Bigfoot, Nessie, ghosts, whatever. Yeah. And in the chapter on Bigfoot, the Albert Ostman story is the story that I use to talk about Bigfoot. So I've been aware of that story for a long time. I never considered any of the other romantic angles to the story, but now I'm being forced to. So thank you, Anthony.
That's in the his redacted diary. You can't. That was never publicly put out. So that's that. We're gonna move on from that now.
Please,
for a bit.
Okay.
So
we'll come back around.
So after that, Wes asked how many times he had to go back there. He said he's probably been back there 5 or 6 times. and he's heard the woman he's heard the woman mention the alpha. He's heard the alpha. He's never seen it though. So this is where we get the introduction
of arrival
to the alpha. It's not a long clip, but I just thought it was pretty funny.
It was probably on the fourth. I probably went out there maybe 5 or 6 times, and it was either the 4th or 5th time I went out there. I was sitting, and it was later on. It had gotten dark on me, and I always told myself I didn't want to be out there at dark because she knows them, I don't, and I was a little, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was a little scared being out there at night.
Yeah,
and she's sitting there, and we're sitting there talking, and she just, I can't remember what our conversation was, but she stops and she was like, "I'll be back," and I'm like, "Okay," and she's like, "Papa's here."
Oh.
And this is the first time I've seen the alpha.
Yeah, the alpha's name's Papa, by the way.
And she goes outside,
Papa's
and
here.
I look out that window, and Wes, it was a beast out there.
What did you see?
I mean, he was so big. I swear he was, at his shoulders, he was 5 foot across.
That's crazy. That is a big animal.
That is a big animal with, I'm sure, a very hairy butt.
Dude, I can't remember if I clipped it or not, but there was a part where he starts describing Bigfoot, or the part Papa, and I was like, he's gonna talk about his hog right now. He's gonna mention his, because at one point he says like from the waist down. I was like, oh no. He says something about him that wasn't that was different from the females, and I thought he was gonna say is he had a massive hog. Thankfully, he didn't, because that would have been crazy.
Well, we can just assume I assume if you listen to this whole episode, we're about an hour into these descriptions at this point. So, you can only imagine what Anthony has seen. I will say, this is what you get for going to a daycare and staring at the kids. Papa shows up and he's angry. And just because there's Sasquatches doesn't mean you can do it, Anthony. You have to not do this. Don't do this ever again. I hope Papa scares him off for good. That's what I'm hoping happens next. But something tells me I'm wrong. So
no. Papa is actually the reason why he doesn't come back. I didn't clip it because it wasn't that interesting. But basically, so he meets Papa. He doesn't meet him, but he sees Papa for the first time. I don't like calling him Papa. That is very upsetting to me. But he's big. He's a big guy. Anthony said that he could apparently crush a basketball with 2 fingers. That's wild. He also says that, so the old lady, like if you just picture like a grandmother, he says that she barely came up past his waistline. So she's hog height, basically.
Wow. She's hog height to Papa, to Big Papa.
But apparently, according to her, he's a big teddy bear. Doesn't seem like it, because he does eventually like scare him off. But Papa comes and goes, and it's not long after this that Wes turns the conversation towards like why he eventually stopped going.
Right.
Again, I didn't really clip any of it, but here's where that kind of goes.
And so before you talk about why you never came back, did she tell you any more information about them, or?
Hold on. This is not the clip I thought it was. This is crazy.
Okay. Okay.
I think I got to this part and I was like, I don't care why he doesn't show up anymore.
Anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, she said, I remember her telling me about when they go hunting. She said that they go an unbelievable amount of distance and come back all within the same night. She told me that she believes that they were hunting as far as up to the Ohio River. And that's probably from there, as in a straight line, as the crow flies, as everybody says, it's probably 40 or 50 miles. She said she believes that they, go as far as that. And she says that they'll bring her meat. She stocks the pond, and she stocks the pond for them. And I asked her, I said, I said, do they have fishing poles? And she's like, no, they get right in the water and catch them. And that's, wow. that's pretty awesome. Because, to catch a fish is really, really, I've tried that as a kid. And she said that they were really good swimmers.
And she mentioned something about the star people. Tell me about that.
Yeah. That was the same night. That was the same night. She told me once the males get like, I guess to a certain age or something, that they have to leave and go with the star people. And I never ever knew what that meant. I don't know if it's a UFO thing. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I would imagine
going into UFOs even makes it even crazier.
No, I hear you.
But you know, she tells me that once the males get to a certain age, that they have to go with the star people for a little while. And she never gave me she never, you know, that was pretty much what she told me. And she never gave me no details on what it meant, or she never explained it to me.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I'll come back to that.
Seems like Anthony learned his interviewing style from Wes, just not asking follow-ups.
Well, I don't know if you caught the end of that clip, but at the end of the clip, Wes says, the star people thing's interesting. We'll come back to that.
Okay, good. So he's going to get to the bottom of this then.
Spoiler alert. Doesn't come back once in the rest of the episode. He does not follow up with it at all. And Wes, who has heard thousands of these stories up to this point, or I guess 419, I guess, you would think that he would know something about this. Like, it just goes to show, like, I know this isn't technically an interview that he's doing. He's just letting people tell their stories. Right. But, dude, star people, UFO, I need more than that. I know that Anthony said she didn't explain it, but, like, he could probably fill in the gaps for Anthony. He probably knows something about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very casual Bigfoot. I don't want to even say researcher, but you know, and I know that there's theories about potentially connections between Bigfoot and UFOs or aliens or interdimensional beings or whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, you'd think if Wes has heard almost 500 of these stories, that he's heard enough that he's going, that's an interesting, you know, this other guy said this thing about the star people once. I mean, I think that's something with all these stories that is frustrating to me as a if you've ever listened to our show Scared All the Time, or if you've heard Ed and I on Cryptid Cocktail before, you probably know that, you know, I always describe myself as I'm a want to believer. I'm very much like, I want all this stuff to be real. I have a very high bar for evidence, because I think that we should evaluate the world around us with what we can prove versus what we think or what we feel. And so it seems to me that a lot of these stories, you know, there's never a consistency between stories other than, you know, Bigfoot are big and they are ape-like. But if there was a race of these creatures that were interacting with aliens or something, like, we've heard enough of these stories at this point that there should be, you know, from even just from an oral history storytelling perspective, there should be enough that there'd be a sense of, this is what's going on. But it's always this sort of like, they, you know, maybe they slipped in and out of our reality on their visits to the star people. And that's not, that's not good enough. But
no. I do feel like some of those, like, they're interdimensional, they can cloak, they're aliens. I think that's just added in details later for people to push the goalpost further as to why we have never caught one or why we can't catch them on film. It's just them making up excuses for why there's no actual evidence besides just people telling their stories and a couple grainy photos.
Yeah, and this story in particular is just, I mean, the number of times that this guy had an opportunity to collect any kind of evidence of this story. You know, it sounds like he had a pretty good thing going for a while here. And sure, I'm sure this woman requested her privacy and everything, but it's at a certain point, some of those things stop holding water. I mean, it's like in the UFO community, all these people that are like, well, the guys who really know the truth, they signed an NDA. You think they're going to risk going to jail to tell you the truth? It's like,
well,
I mean,
if you listen to Project Camelot, you know, they do it all the fucking time. So
I haven't listened to Project Camelot yet, but it's like, yeah, if you knew that these things were real, I think there's a certain amount of wiggle room that we would give you as a society if you were the one to come forward and say, like, look, I know I signed this NDA, but this isn't. It's not a trade secret about Cheez-Its or something like what's in the powder or the recipe. Like this is a world-shattering secret that you have the opportunity to tell the entire human race. Anyway, and that's not this guy.
No,
this guy's
for sure.
This guy's writing. This guy's writing Tumblr fan fiction.
It kind of feels that way.
Bigfoot at this point.
Also, I believe this, if I remember correctly, this is 2004 that all this happened to him. So it's like, and this episode came out in 2018. So this is already old. It was a 14-year-old story to begin with. And then now it's what, 22 years old, I guess. So it's not like he didn't have the chance to like bring a camera. It's not like this didn't happen to him so early on that he couldn't, like, he wasn't going to bring like a giant VHS camcorder there. Like we had the ability to like bring in something small to get some sort of evidence.
Right. Or, I mean, he should be able to point towards where this house was at a certain point, or it is funny. That makes SpongeBob make so much more sense now too, because he was even more popular than he is now, I think, in 2004. So,
yeah.
Man. Okay. What else we got?
What? So I don't have many more clips left. So we're almost near the end here. But yeah, so Star People doesn't get brought. Wes does kind of come back to it, like, sort of. He like mentions it, but Anthony, he just starts talking about something, like he dodges like talking about it again. But Wes doesn't seem to catch it, so they just keep talking. Like Wes starts talking about a bunch of totally separate stories that he's heard of, but off air that he's heard these stories.
They've also clearly talked about this so many times before this recording, because Wes keeps being like, we also talked about this, and you reminded me of that, and you said that. Like, this sounds like a well prepped witness,
or a well coached witness,
well coached, yeah.
But he's telling like other stories, like a woman in Alabama who also had the same kind of like Sasquatch daycare setup. He also talked about a caller who claimed like he saw a Bigfoot talking to military personnel. And then
wait, this daycare is a chain? There's two of them?
It's a franchise.
That's crazy. Yeah. It's a franchise.
But yeah, so he's just talking to him about basically just Wes telling him stories. And then at some point in there, Anthony admits that he felt like a third wheel out there. He kept trying to like, he'd like interact with like the juveniles. Like he'd like make faces at them, try to like play with them. And they were just like, fuck this guy. And also he's being creepy to the women. So it would make sense that like they don't want to have him around. And then, and then completely out of nowhere, new Bigfoot lore has dropped.
Oh, and another thing that, she was telling me about, and I heard on other stations, was about the braiding of the horse's hair. And I had heard on another Bigfoot show that they do that when they are molesting the animals. The way this lady had this relationship with the animals, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, I don't know what's politically correct, but she told me that her horse's hair, that they braid their hair. And I don't think it was nothing like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know that it's molesting every time.
Yeah, it's not molesting every time. Don't worry about it.
Every time.
Yeah, these Bigfoot weren't molesting the horses. It's fine, guys. They just wanted to braid their hair.
So now there is a Mr. Hands of the Bigfoot community also out there running amok and doing horrible things to horses.
Yeah, apparently there's lore about Bigfoot that I didn't know. Apparently, if Bigfoot's braiding your horse's hair, they're molesting your horses.
You
weren't expecting that, were you?
I don't want to paint with a broad brush about people in the sticks.
Yeah.
But if there is any truth to that, I'm not sure that that's Bigfoot who is targeting your horse for romantic attention. That might just be your neighbor. I'm not sure that you need a Bigfoot. But also, I mean, crazy that, I think, Pizzagate had the whole, like, the spirals and the triangles. There were like signs that these things were happening, and it's kind of crazy that is now like bleeding into, I mean, you can see sort of the pipeline, but the idea that would, the symbol that the Bigfoot are also doing something even, horrible to these other animals has a symbol to it is of a piece with some of this other lore from other radio shows.
But it's not molestation every time. It's fine.
No, not every time. Sometimes it's just like they're just pets. They're friends.
Yeah. But that goes on. So,
but it's kind of a half-assed braiding of horse's hair. And, I don't know if there's a humanity in these.
Oh, so this is where apparently Wes has made this known, but he's not a biased Bigfoot fan. He feels a certain way about Bigfoot, and he lets that be known here. Apparently, he's let it known before, but
sayings. I mean, I think the audience pretty much knows I hate these sayings, and deep down, I think I'm not. I'll put it to you like this: I haven't had the experience with them like you have.
No one has.
My experience was very different. And it was not a friendly experience. And so for me, a show like this is difficult because I really think they're nothing more than, well, I don't even want to say that, but it's so hard to hear stuff like this, but I've heard it before. It's not just you, Anthony. This isn't just some crazy story you're telling me that I've never heard before. I've heard this before.
Well,
see, here's the thing. I don't know if he's talking about the whole story or if he's just talking about the molestation of the horses there. Because he hates Bigfoot. Fucking hates him. Apparently he had
that's a twist.
He had a really
that's
bad
a twist, by the way,
experience. And he was going to say something.
He had his hair braided by one, if you know what I mean.
He was going to say something, but then he stopped himself. He was about to just say horrible things about the Bigfoot. And then he goes on to say, this isn't crazy. This is something I've heard before. So I wonder if since he hates Bigfoot, if he knows, or if part of that is because he knows they molest the horses.
I mean, I never in a million years would have guessed that the host of a wildly, apparently successful or at least long-running Bigfoot show hates Bigfoot. That now puts you in a weird camp, because the other people who do podcasts about things that they hate, they're on watch lists. Yeah. So, I would have assumed that he's at least, I mean, I guess he must be fascinated by these creatures that he hates. And he must have told his story at some point, right? This isn't like some huge mystery, like somewhere out there is the Wes story of his horrific encounter with Bigfoot.
I would assume so, because he does say that the listeners know that he hates Sasquatch. But I don't know if his story is out there. It could be like, how like Zach Baggins fucking hates ghosts because the beginning of Ghost Adventures, he's like, I had an experience when I was a child, but he never talks about his story. He just goes in there trying to fight ghosts. I think it's kind of like that.
Zach Bagan's Ghost Fighter is still one of the most brilliant television shows I've ever seen in my life, especially some of that early stuff before he was like a well-known name, and it was sort of a surprise to like turn on Ghost Hunters and be like, what the fuck is going on? They're all yelling. They were fighting ghosts. Like,
yeah. But I think it's like that, where Wes had a bad experience and now he's just like trying to either find the evidence or just like hear other stories. It's like, I feel like that's Zach Baggins' whole motivation for doing Ghost Adventures was he had an experience and now he just wants to.
Well, Zach knows where the ghosts are. This Wes is trying to find where the Bigfoot lives. He wants to go pay this thing a fucking visit. He's trying to hating Bigfoot would also be a great name for a podcast. I would absolutely listen to 400 episodes of hating Bigfoot. I am curious what slur he was going to use.
I do too.
I wish we had finished that thought. I hope it was not one that we'd be familiar with. I hope it would just be something a slur. I wonder what constitutes a
Bigfoot slur. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely could not tell you.
Yeah,
I feel like Bigfoot alone is a slur. Like, not a slur, but it sounds like you're making fun of the dude.
Well, it's all in the tone. One of them big feet.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't trust them.
Yeah. So I kind of blacked out after that.
I don't blame you.
But I do have two more clips. So he just goes on. We'll just listen to it. It's not that long.
When she said, the two juveniles, they was in the floor playing, and when she was like, I'm gonna go out, she's like, I gotta go outside, and I looked out there, and it's just like they were in the floor playing, but when she, when he was there, they went upstairs, and I was just like,
Oh, so when he says when he's there, they go upstairs. They're talking about Papa, the alpha male.
Papa goes upstairs with the old woman?
No, so the two juveniles are playing on the floor. She goes outside. Papa shows up, and then when Papa shows up, the two kids run upstairs.
I see. Okay.
I got a bad feeling from him, and
he gets a bad
after seeing him, it's just it kind of ruined it for me. It was something. I felt like I was the only person in the world that was going through this. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there thinking, you know how people say that, they see a Bigfoot here, and when I heard the story, I was thinking there was just one Bigfoot that was traveling all across America, and my happy black ass gets to see the four of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, damn,
Yeah. So,
wow.
He thought there was just one Bigfoot, and it was just traveling. Just touring the country. I
mean, again, that is a fact or an Anthony opinion that then makes me go, wow, like it's even crazier that he came up with this story, unless he's making that up too, that he thought there was just one. But to go from a guy who thinks there's just one Bigfoot to coming up with this wild tale about a Bigfoot daycare / singles bar or whatever he's treating it as is even crazier. So
yeah.
Whew. All right. And that was that the last clip, or you got one more?
I got one more. But yeah, so basically, if you, I know we touched on it, but in that clip, he talks about how Papa came, kids ran upstairs like they were just terrified him, and he gets a bad vibe from him. He doesn't like when Papa's around, and that's pretty much the reason why he stopped showing up. Is because I think him and Papa were. He didn't explicitly say this, but I think in his mind they were vying for alpha male because he wanted all the Sasquatch ladies.
Obviously, there's only so many hairy butts to go around.
Yeah, that's just conjecture on my part, though.
Yeah,
but he tells a couple more stories about like watching the juveniles play. Them sitting on their butts and like pushing each other back and forth. He says he wishes he had photos of them. And he says that if they grow up looking anything like Papa, he genuinely feels for them. I don't know why. I feel like that's what you'd want a Bigfoot to grow up to. And then Wes just kind of does a thing where he talks about other stories that loosely relate to his story. But basically Anthony just sums the whole thing up by saying that these things did more for the woman's property than she could have done for herself, because the Squatches like helped like feed the horses, move firewood back and forth. Like it was like a quid pro quo kind of scenario, I guess.
So she put them to work. She put them to work on the farm, and they earned their SpongeBob time.
Yeah, they earned their keep, but they were also bringing her meat and stuff, and she gave them fish. I don't know how the details of this arrangement were worked out.
I forgot about the meat thing, but like, I mean, I would not eat that meat. You don't know where that's from. You don't know where that's been.
You don't know if it's a fresh kill or if they found a dead deer carcass in the woods for a while.
Or if it's a person. You don't know. Like, I mean, if you just bringing a slab of meat back to a lady.
I don't know if they were bringing back slabs. I think they were bringing back whole animals. That'd be crazy, though, if they were like field dressing the animals in the field and then bringing back just the meat.
I mean, look, they're apparently feeding the horses and doing chores. So I would, I don't know how many skills they have, but whew, what a tale. Okay.
So, and finally, Wes asks, like, has he ever gone back to like check on her? Like, is she's even still alive anymore? But Anthony admits that he's thought about it, but he's chickened out every time. But apparently the house, the silo, all that stuff is still there. If you look it up on Google Maps, doesn't give you any way how to look it up on Google's Maps. But yeah, so then they kind of just like, they're ending the episode. And then Anthony says something that is kind of sad.
I hear you. Well, it's a fascinating account, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share it, Anthony. I know you didn't really want to come on the show, and I know I begged and pleaded with you to come on the show and share it, but I'm really glad that you did. It's another piece to the puzzle. You know what I mean?
I mean, you have no idea how good this feels to get this off my chest. I told my girlfriend about it, and yeah, I'm sure she believes me.
No, I mean, I would hope she doesn't. Actually,
yeah, I'm sure she does, though.
I'm sure she does. I'm sure she does.
Which means that she's never given him concrete yes or no.
About what?
About believing him.
If she believes him.
Yeah.
Right. She's like, wow, what a wild story, Anthony. Tell it to me again.
Yeah.
Tell me about my competition in the woods.
But yeah, so that's those are the highlights from episode 419 that I felt like anyone, if you're interested, you go listen to the whole thing. I needed to talk about it and have someone else validate that it is an insane story that everyone should have heard.
I mean, this is beyond when you said we were going to talk about Bigfoot clips, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. This is beyond anything I could have imagined. This is one of the wildest Bigfoot stories, certainly that I've ever heard, and I would imagine maybe that Wes has ever heard.
He did say it's up there.
I hope that somebody someday can find Anthony, and maybe if we could even pin down where this thing is on Google Maps. Does he give any clues as to like where he lives or what part of the country this is? Or
well, considering it said Haint, I'm gonna assume it's like Appalachia territory, because I think that's like mostly where Haint is associated with.
Yeah, and there's a quarry. We know there's a rock quarry.
Yeah, and then he says they go up to the Ohio River, but that's like 50 miles.
Which is about 50 miles.
Yeah, so 50 miles in some direction from the
Ohio, yeah. And you're looking for a rock quarry, and that's pretty much all we because there's people, I forget what they call them on Reddit, like geolocators or something.
Yeah.
Like there's like a group of people who they usually do it with imagery. I don't know but you can like post a picture and they'll find where in the world it's from. And part of me is like, I wonder if there's enough details in this story that somebody could take a stab at where he might be talking about. But it sounds like maybe not.
Well, if anyone listening out there is a geolocator, please, for the love of God, listen to this episode and see if you can find out where it is, because I want to see the house. I think if we could find this house, I think we owe it to ourselves to take a trip out there. If you had this many juvenile Sasquatch in one home, there must still be fur or droppings, somewhere. I feel like, at least if nothing else, we know we'll come back with some SpongeBob DVDs, which, might be worth it in and of itself. So they could be collector's items at this point. Who knows?
There's only so many episodes of SpongeBob that have been watched by a Sasquatch. Exactly. So, I think we could take them to a con and maybe some Sasquatch fingerprints on some of this, because those any kind of like DVD cases, VHS covers, players, all that kind of anything like plastic or glass. I'm sure these juvenile Squatch put their hands on the TV glass at some point. Like, this could be a treasure trove.
Yeah, I think
treasure trove of evidence.
I think you're right. Yeah, so maybe I'll start reaching out some geolocators. If anyone listening can do it, I think we're onto something here. I think we could do this.
And oh my God, talk about also you have all these people who are like, oh, we're putting out this trap. It smells like deer piss, and we're going to set up a camera because we think the Sasquatch are going to come by and sniff it or whatever. If we can find where this is, we can just start playing SpongeBob out in the woods, and they will come.
Yeah.
If you play it, they will come. So,
all right,
we'll leave it there. Holy shit, what an episode!
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot.
It was a lot, but I have now I have a whole new way to make friends, to be like, hey guys, I just moved to town. I guest hosted a podcast about a man who visited a Bigfoot daycare center and did everything he could to get arrested.
Dude.
Holy shit.
All right, so real quick. So the one thing too is that like she's been doing this since the 70s, apparently, according to him. I don't think I brought that up at all in the story.
Oh, the old woman.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is he the first person to be brought into this secret?
Oh, there might be more. There might be more. That's another good reason to figure out where the hell this took place, because there's no way that
right?
he's the only person. There's got to be at least one or two other people who saw a Bigfoot baby snagged in a tree.
There was also a detail about how she was married. She did have a husband, but he died in the 70s, and she started doing
Papa.
And she started doing this in the 70s. Maybe you're onto something that, like, maybe it was a lover's quarrel, and Papa
won. His 5 foot across shoulders,
dude,
which is has a foot on the desk that I'm sitting at least.
Yeah, I'm 5'5". I'm not a tall person, so he is my height in width.
In width,
that is crazy.
5 feet across is like what that's wider than the front of a Mack truck.
Yeah, dude, it's huge. It is fucking massive.
Well, I'll give him maybe he was spooked and he kind of misjudged the size on that, but holy shit.
All right, so that's the story. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad it was not what you expected.
Not at all what I expected. Thank you, Wes. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Dave. I will never forget today. This has been an incredible episode, and I hope it lives in the nightmares of all your listeners for years to come. Wow.
Right.
Wow. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Before we go, do you want to let everyone know where they can find you, like who you are, what you do? I mean, you've been on before a few times, so they might already know, but for those new to the show, what's going on with you?
Yeah, if you haven't heard us before, I'm Chris from Scared All the Time. I co-host it with my buddy Ed. We are a podcast about fears. So each episode we cover a different fear from a historical, social, scientific perspective, sometimes all of them, depending on what the fear is. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. We have a Patreon, patreon.com//scared all the time. And yeah, we'd love to have you come check us out. Cryptid Cocktail fucking rocks, and I'm so psyched you had me on for this episode, and we're figuring out some more stuff for the rest of the year, so I'm sure we'll have you guys on again soon at some point. We'll do some Halloween's coming up. I know we're all probably planning some good spooky season stuff, so yeah, if you like the combo, if you like the chocolate and peanut butter of Cryptid Cocktail and Scared All the Time, there'll be more coming your way soon.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so give them a follow, give them a listen. I love their show. I love you, Chris. I
love you too, Dave. Thank you.
This is the normally part of the show where part of the episode where Sarge would say goodbye and I love it to the audience. Would you like to do that for me instead?
Sure. Goodbye. I love you. And I love the show. I love Bigfoot more than ever.